Hello, this video is to go over some of the older ways of doing lights with analog strings and say Renard controllers. We had a couple of recent user questions about how to do some of this, so I thought I'd do a little refresher course. And one user in particular was working with some single color arches, so we're going to take that particular example to help him solve his problem. I'm using the current version of Vixen 3.12 U5 as of 12/12/2025. So in the display setup here, I've created three arches to mimic this user's setup. He has one is red, one is blue, and one is white. So, and they are 8 segment arches. Each segment has a strand of regular, analog Christmas lights wrapped around it to make the 8 segments, so 8 sets of lights. Each one of these would be mapped to a, single Renard channel controller. So if we take a look at this, it's patched to a Renard controller over here, using 24 outputs. Your typical maybe SS24. We take a look at it from the graphical perspective. We've got three arches here. The first arch is red. All of the individual parts are configured to be red. The second one here is configured to be blue. You can see that all of those are blue. The last one here is configured to be white. So all of these are white. So I've got my, red, blue, and white arch here. At this point, after this, I've got everything configured, set up to go there. I no longer really need to think about these arches in terms of channels or colors like you may have done in the old Vixen 2 world or other technologies from time ago. So now I'm just thinking about I have a group of three arches. It's, arch 1, arch 2, and arch 3. So let's take that and let's go in here and do a little demo of how we can work with these and go from there. Let's get the preview up here. So to start with here, let's just take a simple set level and we drop it on arch 1. It knows that this arch has red as its only color, so it configures the effect with red. There's no other options, so it's pretty straightforward. And you can see in my preview, I've got, an arch lit up in all red, just like you would expect. If I expand this down, I can go into each individual one here. You see each node as I go across. Is set up, the 8 different nodes. So that works all as expected there. If I drop it on the next one here, the effect updates to blue because it knows there's only blue as the possibility here. So it automatically adapts. Looks just like the red one, only it's blue. And the same for the white one. We get all three colors here. So that's pretty straightforward there. But if I take this effect and go back up to the group level, and it was last white. So all I'm getting here is white, and I get the color to light up for the third arch, even though there's a red one and a blue one here. But I've told it to be white, so I can't light red or blue with a white, so that just doesn't work. I can go in here and I can change this to blue, and you'll see that it switches and lights up the appropriate effect or appropriate arch for the color that I've selected. Pretty straightforward there. But what if I wanted to use a single effect up here? Instead of taking this and dragging this down here, duplicating this and duplicating this to get all three of them lit up, that's a lot of work, right? So what if I just take and drop a pulse up here at the top at the group level, and then I go in here and I can turn on the other three colors. And now we can switch this over here to be flat as a curve, so it looks like the set level. Now I have all three arches lit with just one effect. So one effect is doing the work of all three of these. So I can get rid of that, and now I have one effect doing the work of three of them. Much simpler to set up. When you look at this at the group level, you can see that I've got all three of them lit up there and working. Makes a lot more sense than trying to deal with things down here at the bottom level. So that is how to work with that. And of course, obviously we can, continue to do the ramps with the pulses and the like that we do with this, or the downward ramps the other direction. So all of that works as one would expect there. So what if we want to start extending this to the chase? So in typical times in the past, you would probably just put a chase here and you'd get a red chase there. Oh, I want the blue one to do the same thing. So we duplicate that, and now we got both of them going at the same time. We've got a chase on both of them, and then we get to the, whoops, I had too many there. Get to the third one here. So now we've got a white one. So now we've got all three of them chasing in parallel. Again, whole lot of, things going on here. So what if I just take a simple chase and drop it on here? And you can see now that I really only got one of them happening. I've got the red one going on here. Um, because the effect is set to be red. If I change this to blue, I get just a blue one. I don't have any. Let me add a little bit of overlap here so this has a little tail to it so you can see it a little easier. So now all I've got is a single blue one. And if I come in here and do the white, I've got just the white one working now. So again, works a lot like what you saw with the set level up there. And the color dictates what happens. But if I come in here and change this to gradient per pulse, now I can come in here and do the same thing that I did with the pulse effect. And lo and behold, now I've got a chase that walks across all three of them and lights them up in the colors that they appropriately belong to. I can see that they're going to have a red one that leads into the blue one that leads into the white one. And this makes it pretty straightforward to do it all. Again, what I was doing with three chases here, I'm doing with one up here at the group level. Uh, and then I can start doing other things where if I wanted to go down here and do this, then I can chase across the three arches directly. I can work, 1, 2, and 3, whereas that would have been a lot harder to do. I would have had to try and time these out with a set level or something like that individually here, but now I can do it at the group level. I can get 1, 2, and 3 lit up and the chase does all of its, wonderful magical stuff where it figures out, what the length of the pulses should be. No concerns there at all. So that's another interesting thing that you can do at that point. We can also come up here and change this to where we do across elements, each element and group. Now I have three chases working side by side. Once again here, instead of chasing across all three of them, I have three of them chasing at the exact same time in all three of the colors. And if I were to change just the colors here, I can, go turn off, say blue here, and I end up with just the red and the white. So again, I'm staying at the group level, and I'm not having to work with these down here at these lower levels. I'm not having to think about channels and what channel is what color and things like that. I'm just thinking about colors and what I want effects to do. This starts to go down the line, and you can start doing these things with the alternating effect. It works very much the same way. You can come in here and add blue to this, and now I've got blue alternating going on. We add one more color. I've got the whites, so I've got all these alternatings going on here with random effects on things like that. Start changing the effect depth to different levels. I can get all three of them to come on. I can get them to chase. This is similar to a chase. I can do alternates across the three different colors there. So we start getting a lot more flexibility in how we can do things. But again, I have not done anything at these lower level arch levels here with across these, very basic effects now. So these things all work very well and keep me up at the higher level, not having to think about individual things. So hopefully that gives you some food for thought, some ideas on how these things work, and hopefully makes it easier to sequence in as you go along.